My name is Rick Little. Born in Denver, Colorado, but been in Spokane for 45 out of my 47 years. I'm the owner, head coach here at SikJitsu Fighting Systems in Spokane, Washington.
What was your very first experience with mixed martial arts?
My very first experience was I was sitting there with my buddies watching, I missed UFC 1, but I saw UFC 2 live on TV, and I was just blown away. I was actually making fun of Royce Gracie, who was the first ever UFC champ. I thought he came out with a little karate outfit, and I was like, this little guy is going to get killed. Unlimited weight classes, you know, all the fights happen in one night, 4 fights, and then you tell me the smallest, skinniest guy wins it. I was blown away by him, and I got in my car about 8 months later and drove down there and started training with him. I was a lost guy after high school, thinking I was going to SFCC, figuring out what I want to do in life, what credits I need to get, all that nonsense, and I just miserable doing all that. And I still wanted to be an athlete, still wanted to be in sports, and then watched Royce on TV, and he made it so jiu-jitsu, so beautiful, as far as he made it look like anybody could do it. So I took my college money, said, sorry parents, I'm going to use this for something else. And they were cool. They said, you can use it for whatever you want. So I moved to California.
Obviously it's played out great for you now, but once you were actually there, how was it when you first started?
It was an unbelievable experience, just for the fact that, and I tried to do that here to some degree as a coach, just for the fact that I literally showed up at their academy, and Royce Gracie, his older brother, I just gave him a speech and spiel how I wanted to be there, and they let me try. They're like, okay. And they let me jump right in. I was doing training there 4 or 5, probably 6 hours a day, every day. Found an apartment about a block away and just started with them. They took me right in. It was amazing. I just feel like people can look in other people's eyes sometimes and see it and say, yeah, we'll let this guy in. I feel like something's good going to come from this person. And maybe they're just letting everybody in because they weren't as popular back then, but doors were open and I took advantage. You know, I did learn a lot from them, and number one, it starts with, and a lot of good athletes, they just need a chance. There's probably so many good athletes that could have been the Tom Brady's or Michael Jordans, but they didn't even get to start because their coach didn't see it in them. You know, Michael Jordan was on the bench, believe it or not. You know what I mean? In his high school years, I heard. And Tom Brady is a backup quarterback in college. You know, it's unbelievable. These are the greatest of all time in what they do. So sometimes you just need someone. It's not even how good the coach is. Sometimes you need someone to believe in you. You need one person to say, I think you're good. And then that's all it takes. If you have an idea in your head and there's someone that backs that idea up, whether it's podcasting, doing whatever you're doing, opening a landscaping business, one other person says, let's do it. And you have that energy, you know, stuff can happen. And I feel like that happened for me with them. They gave me a shot, and I feel like if I get behind somebody and I believe, I can make them believe. I can literally trick them into believing they're the best in the world, and they damn well might be.
So when did you go from training to be a fighter yourself to transitioning into coaching?
You know, I did some fights and stuff back in the day, and I was always scared and freaked out. And I was, you know, you show up to these places and the promoters are telling you bullshit as far as the weights and everything, and you're always like wondering who you're fighting. It was always like a mess back then in the late 90s and stuff. It was some scary shit, to be honest. Like, I hated it. So right away, I just learned I was a vocal person, because me and my friends would go like cattle to these shows, and like they're like, oh, trust me, your guy was 145. I could tell the guy was like 190, you know, and your guy's this and your guy's that, and a lot of us get our ass whooped, you know, and so I just finally took a stand, like, so some promoters and stuff, and we're like, I'm not coming back. We're not doing this, you know, we're not, you know, it just takes somebody seeing something a little bit off and making a move. And one of my first moves wasn't so much teaching people what I was learning as far as jiu-jitsu, but it was more like getting my own promotion going, because we had a guy in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I won't say any names, but he was, doing some bad stuff. And the fights were horrible. 200-pound guys versus 130-pound guys off the street kind of stuff. And I'm like, I can do better shows than this. And so I had got some guts. It was hard, because I kept canceling my shows because I was scared to do my first one, but I did my first show and it sold out. And from then on, I'm like, I'm doing these all the time.
I haven't been to one single show that you've put on that hasn't been sold out. So obviously you're doing something right. What were a few things that you noticed weren't perfect for a fight promotion that you could add to it to just make it run smoothly, please the crowds, please the fighters? What sets your promotions aside from some of these other ones that you've experienced?
Fight promoting is easy. The reason why Dana White's so good at it is Dana's in your face obvious, about it. If you're fighting someone tough, you just tell someone they're fighting someone tough. It's literally that simple. I mean, you got some people out there they're going to take it regardless. You don't have to say, oh, this guy is a beginner, he's 0-0, and then you find out later he's a collegiate wrestler. You're not 0-0 if you're a collegiate wrestler. You've been in some wars. You're a proven warrior. You know what I mean? Just because they don't throw hands in wrestling, for some reason people want to disclose your boxing. Oh, well, he's got hands. He's a fighter. He's boxed a bunch. Collegiate wrestlers are the scariest people on earth, in my opinion, as far as a base to start out with. And so, you just disclose stuff. No one wants to fight this guy because he was, D1 All-American wrestler. That's why. And I feel like if you're transparent with these fighters, they'll make a decision, and a lot of them will make the crazy one that says, I'll still fight him. And so you let it happen, because half the battle is believing you can beat these people. Who am I to say you're not ready for them? There's a lot of fights where I just knew the guys are probably not going to win, but I'm not going to crush a dream and say you can't win. If you believe it, I give you the platform to do it, So I just want to make it as fair as possible. And even if I don't think a fight is fair, I will tell you that. It's like I told you about Bryce earlier. He's my own guy. And I said, the guy you're about to fight, you're going to lose to. And he still wanted to take the fight, and I loved it. That's not the best pep talk a coach can give, but I was just more honest, than coach. And I just feel like that's what you got to do as a promoter.
What's something that stands out to you where it's like, I think this guy has some real potential and you want to give him your time and give him your resources?
It has to be two things that stick out. You got to have some form of athletic ability. I mean, it's just real. You try out for the NFL, you got to have a little bit of speed. You got to be able to run. Some guys are faster than others, I get it. But you got to be able to run. If you're a receiver, you got to catch the ball. You can't be dropping everything, you got to have a starting point. So you have to come in here with some type of athletic background or athletic ability to yourself, natural power, certain things. Something's got to stand out in that aspect. And then the hard part that is hard to this day for me to do is see if you can look into them and see if they're going to be here in 7 years. If you believe they can stick with this for 7 years, then you have yourself a winner. And that goes for any business owner out there. If you're hiring someone, again, I'll bring up landscaping. If you look at this employee that wants to work for you and you think they're going to be there for 7 years, you want to hire that employee. They're going to get some stuff done for you. So I'm looking at the long haul, not just how good they are now or how freaky athletic they are now. I'm looking at who I think is going to be there for the long haul. And I've been wrong a lot. It's not many people. I wasn't right about Chiesa. I didn't know he was going to be that long. I knew Julie was going to be, but I didn't know Mike was going to be. I didn't think Sam was going to be. It's hard to predict that. I had other guys that I knew were going to be here forever that were gone in a year, So that's the hardest part.
5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do you see your gym and your promotion?
Long term, I definitely, this is weird because that's a good question on where I see me being long term, because I've accomplished a lot of stuff I've wanted to do in this game, even in promotions I have. I got into promoting saying I want to do it right and put it on the map and give people a platform. It happened. I've put so many people into the UFC from Conquest to Cage, double-digit people. And by myself, not with all this other help, not this gigantic promotion, my own sole promotion. So I've done that, made Ultimate Fighter champions, world champion, as you know, with Juliana. I feel like I'm farther along and, you know, happy. These goals are past what I was actually even envisioning. So what I see in the future is very odd. It's a good question because, you know, I might not even be in this game much longer. You know, I don't know, because I don't want to be a fighter that kind of likes fighting or just has a side passion for it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As I'm getting older, I feel like I could just as easily be like, I'm good. Because I said this before, when Melissa and Maya came, Brady and Ashton came, they came at the perfect time, because I would be probably out of here. I'd been like, I've done what I wanted to do. I'd probably be seeking some other exciting thing to get into that everybody says you can't succeed in, like coaching football. You know, I could honestly see myself coaching at a high level of football. And that's been on my mind a lot. But when I got these three in here, I'm like, no, this passion and stuff is exciting me. So now it's bringing me back. So the question is not what I want. If I have people that come in here like Ashton, Brady, and Melissa, then unfortunately I'm probably going to stay longer. And I shouldn't say unfortunate, because I'm liking it. You know, I love what Melissa's doing. I love what Brady's doing. I love what Ashton's doing. So as you get older, you know, you're very selective with your time, or at least you should be. And I choose to spend it with them. So, and everything else I don't care about. So the future I don't look at. I look at these three and bringing them along. And now a couple other are growing in here, like Alvin and some other people. And, you know, we'll see where I'm at. But a lot of it depends on where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Very well said.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
And I like it because I think you guys understand.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people just talk to talk, and it's like, yeah. If you don't have people that aren't bringing it, why do you want to bring it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's your gift, though, too, is